Peace to everyone. Peace to everyone out in YouTube, StreamYard, and X. Welcome to Winnings Wednesdays for Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. My name's Errol, and I'm simply a freedom coach. This week, we had to go live a little bit early. I just wanted to accommodate my travel schedule, so that explains the early live this week. I've got several things in my notes here I wanted to share. But before we get into that, I want to give it a couple minutes for people to join. While I do that, I'm going to check the market. What do I see in the market so far today? Mix of red and green. Indexes look slightly up today. NASDAQ slightly down. Bitcoin 89.9, just under 90,000. Ethereum 3,000, just over 3,000. Meta 659. Netflix 97, Nvidia 174. So that's where we currently stand as of 10:31 a.m. Eastern. As you guys come in, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how the market's been treating you. Let us know how the market has been treating you. I have a couple interesting articles I wanted to share. One of them is Company of the Year, according to Yahoo Finance. Company of the Year, according to Yahoo Finance. We're going to get into that. I'm going to talk about earnings. I've got a couple articles on the jobs report I wanted to talk about. Let's see here. I saw a article from CNN Business on the unemployment rate. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to check some other current headlines in the markets. We're going to check some other current events going on in the markets. Take a look at a few YouTube shorts as well. All right, so let me share my screen here. As you guys come in, welcome. We're live across three platforms today. Let's see what's going on. Let's check some current headlines. Let's check some headlines right here. Okay, so here's CNBC. Little has changed after 3-day losing streak. That's as of 5 minutes ago. Investopedia, 5 things to know before the market opens. Maybe let's check this article right here. Okay, so recent history, the market's been down. S&P and the Dow. Micron set to release earnings. OpenAI, okay, I've got an article on OpenAI, reportedly in talks with Amazon for investment of $10 billion or more. Tesla stock has been up recently. Record close. Okay, Tesla at record close. Tesla shares, let's check this. Tesla shares are a little changed this morning after closing Tuesday at their first record high since last December. Investors are focusing on potential of the company's non-EV business, from self-driving cars that can operate as robotaxis to software that could be licensed to other companies and humanoid robots. Okay, so that's another thing to keep an eye on. Warner Brothers. Okay, I've got an article I wanted to share on Netflix. Netflix has been in the news recently. So according to Investopedia, here are 5 things for today's market. Okay, 5 things to know before the market opens. All right, so let's check some other headlines here. Let's see what Gemini has to say. Major U.S. stock indexes opened mixed on Wednesday, December 17th, as investors weighed recent job data and corporate earnings. The Dow Jones Industrial and NASDAQ traded higher in early action, while the S&P was slightly lower. Okay, let's see what these numbers are. Okay, Dow Jones 48.2, S&P 6,700, almost 6,800, NASDAQ 23,000. Okay, economic data. The market is reacting to mixed economic signals, including higher than expected November job growth, but also a rising unemployment rate of 4.6. What else do we have? Oracle share slid following report of data center delays. Tesla, we just talked about Tesla wavering after it tries to reach new highs amid news of driverless vehicle testing. And Micron is expected to report earnings after close today. Okay, so that's what's going on in the market. Brief overview of what's currently going on in the market. Let's get into one of the articles I wanted to talk about. Let's see here. Let me stop sharing that one. You might have seen this on Yahoo Finance. I think it was on Monday. Let's see here. Okay, this is an article from Yahoo Finance. It says OpenAI is 2025 Yahoo Finance's Company of the Year. Okay, Yahoo Finance's Company of the Year. Everywhere investors looked in 2025, there was OpenAI. The company struck mega deals with Microsoft, Oracle, AMD, and NVIDIA. It amassed $1.4 trillion in committed spending over the next 8 years. It pushed ambitions to build its own data centers and hardware products. Okay, and it converted to a for-profit company with a potential $1 trillion IPO on the horizon. Okay, so if OpenAI goes public, they're already going to be in the top, say, 12 most valuable companies in the world. If they IPO over $1 trillion market cap, they're already in the top 10 or top 12 most valuable companies in the world. Let's see. OpenAI's private company shares have surged 153% this year as it landed a $500 billion valuation, according to Yahoo Finance's private company data. It's been a year where we have really hit kind of this day one of the next phase for OpenAI, and we've seen a lot of ecosystem rallies start to move towards us to help us create this future. The world's most valuable startup. 3 years after the recent release of ChatGPT 3.5 ushered in this generation's gold rush, OpenAI secured the award for Yahoo Finance's editorial team. Believe the company had greatest impact on investing narrative this year. The Sam Altman-led firm has been at the center of AI boom when it announced its multi-billion-dollar deal with AMD on October 6th. The chip maker's stock shot up 24% in one day. AMD CEO Lisa Su said that OpenAI would help lay the foundation for the AI world. Okay, Oracle's stock has shot up too. They partner with OpenAI as well. Okay, this is a key headline right here. Can the OpenAI engine keep running? The potential growth for OpenAI is vast. HSBC estimated the consumer market for large language models can reach $129 billion in annual revenue by 2030, while the enterprise LLM market is projected to reach $386 billion. To get there, OpenAI spending plans even more eye-popping. The startup has committed $300 billion and $250 billion to Oracle and Microsoft respectively, plus $38 billion to Amazon and $224.4 billion to CoreWeave. Okay, so they're doing big business. Okay, here's a great graphic right here. Actually, here's a great graphic. So OpenAI, you see right there in the middle, they're doing business with a lot of heavy hitters: Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, AMD, Broadcom. Is there a business lesson in there for us? Is there a business lesson? CoreWeave and NVIDIA in there too. Is there a business lesson in there in this article for us? Is there a business lesson in this visual for us? What's a business takeaway from this visual? Is there a business lesson from this visual? One takeaway I have is to partner with other heavyweights. If I believe I'm a heavyweight and I'm doing heavyweight business, maybe I partner with other heavyweights. Maybe the synergy will be even bigger. Maybe 1 plus 1 will not equal 2. Maybe 1 plus 1 will equal 3. All right, so there's one takeaway for myself just by looking at this visual. But the gargantuan numbers have spooked investors. The startup has raised nearly $50 billion so far, but HSBC estimates OpenAI will have a $207 billion funding gap by 2030. All right, let's see what else it says here. Okay, this article goes on to mention Oracle, another company that OpenAI is doing business with. Okay, so you can check out the rest of this article on Yahoo Finance. I saw this article on Monday. Okay, I wanted to share what company Yahoo Finance believes is company of the year. So according to them, it is OpenAI. OpenAI. Okay, OpenAI. Okay, actually, let's see if we can listen to this short video here, 2-minute video. Let's check out a couple minutes of this video.
Finance executive editor Brian Sozzi. There's been one company.
Hopefully this will load. All right, let me try refreshing this. I'm gonna give this one minute. If it doesn't load, we'll revisit this. Okay, maybe my Wi-Fi is a little janky, so maybe we'll pause that. We'll come back to that later. My Wi-Fi is a little janky. Okay, janky Wi-Fi. All right. That was OpenAI, company of the year, according to Yahoo Finance. Let's see what else we have here. All right. You might have heard about this. This is an article from CNN Business. Unemployment rate. Unemployment rate hit 4-year high last month. Okay. So let's take a look at this article here. Unemployment rate hit 4-year high. This is an article from CNN Business as of, I think it was today. I think it's today. The U.S. labor market grew even more exclusive in November. Unemployment rose to a 4-year high of 4.6 in November, and the economy added 64,000 jobs last month. And this is according to the Bureau of Labor Stats on yesterday. Last month's jobs gains, which came in higher than expected, follow a 105,000 job loss in October. So that kind of makes sense, right? Back in October, we had was it October or was it November that we had the shutdown, right? The government had laid off a lot of people. A lot of these private and public sector companies laid off a lot of people. Actually, I think that was November. The longest ever federal shutdown cast a large shadow over the critical economic indicator. Statistical agencies were largely dark on November 1st, from November 1st to November 12th, and were unable to collect, process, and analyze data. And for the first time in nearly 80 years, no employment rate was released for October due to a lack of data collection. Economists were looking for a net gain of 40,000 jobs for November and the unemployment rate to stay unchanged from its September rate of 4.4. The BLS's monthly snapshot of the labor market is generated from two robust surveys, one of businesses and the other of households. The establishment survey responds to are largely submitted electronically, while the household surveys are conducted mostly in person and over the phone. Those overall payroll numbers for October and November aren't skewed by hundreds of thousands of furloughed federal workers, the BLS noted. Those workers were eventually paid, so they counted as employed. However, the October employment tally already came in with built-in asterisks. The hefty overall employment loss was entirely due to Trump's cutbacks of the federal workforce that occurred months ago. Okay, so let's take a look at this headline here. A job recession. Despite the noise, Tuesday's jobs report painted a picture of an, at best, stagnant labor market. In addition to the partial October data, Tuesday's report included revisions for September and August. September's monthly gains were revised down. August's jobs loss deepened. Okay, so they're going back and revising these numbers, not in a favorable direction, looks like. The U.S. economy is in a jobs recession. Okay, let's pause for the cause right there. Let's study this sentence right here. Okay, reading the article is one thing. Making a plan is something completely different. What are we going to do about it? The U.S. economy is in a jobs recession. What are we going to do about it? What is the plan? Do we have a plan? Do we have the courage to get a plan? Do we have the courage to execute that plan? Or is the plan to cry and complain? Okay, what's the plan? Drop your plan in the chat. I'm gonna drop my own plan in the chat. My plan is to develop skill. I'm gonna write my plan in the chat. Develop skill, comma, network with heavy hitters. What else am I going to do? I am going to generate side hustle revenue. There's my plan right there. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to complain. I am going to develop skill. I'm going to network with heavy hitters. I'm going to generate side hustle revenue. Okay. My plan is to not cry and complain as a grown man. Okay. No crying. That's my plan right there. What's your plan? Drop it in the chat. All right. The economy has outright lost jobs in 3 out of the past 6 months, June, August, and October. This follows as a stretch of 4+ years without any monthly job loss. Healthcare and social assistance continue to dominate the employment gains, adding 64 and 64.6 in October. Okay. Foggy horizon for hiring. Okay, that's not breaking news. Foggy horizon for hiring. Okay, we didn't need to wait on CNN Business to tell us this. Okay, we knew this already. Writing's been on the wall. What's the plan? The slowdown in job gains coupled with rising unemployment has driven the Fed to cut rates by a quarter point for 3 consecutive meetings. However, it takes several quarters for monetary policy changes to work their way through the economy. All right, let's see here. Tuesday's data also confirmed an underlying deterioration in employment conditions, particularly those who are younger or are minorities. Did we need CNN Business to wait? Did we need them to tell us that? Or did we already know that? Tuesday's data also confirmed an underlying deterioration in employment conditions, particularly those who are younger or are minorities. Okay, not so breaking news. The unemployment rate for Black workers rose 8.3% in November. Here's some more not breaking news. Unemployment rate for Black workers rose to 8.3% in November. What is the plan? Do we have a plan? Do we have the courage to implement the plan? What is the plan? Okay, we've cried long enough. We've complained long enough. We blame the politicians long enough. What is the plan moving forward? Do we have a new strategy? Do we have a new strategy? What is the plan moving forward? There's my plan in the chat. I dropped it. My plan is to develop more skills. Okay, I don't need no more degrees. I'm cool on the degrees. I need skill. Okay, I want more skill. I don't want more degrees. I want more skill. Skills pay the bills, right? Skills pay the bills. Okay, degrees and skills are not synonymous. My first plan is to develop skills. My second plan is to network with heavy hitters. That just simply means network with people who are doing big things. And my third plan is to generate side hustle revenue. My plan is to not wait on HR to bless me. My plan is not to wait on Santa Claus to bless me. I will get off my ass and I'll bless myself. That is my personal plan. That is my personal plan. What's your plan? Let us know. I am not waiting on Santa Claus to slide down my chimney and bless me. Okay? I am not waiting on Santa Claus to slide down my chimney and bless me. Santa Claus should wait on us to bless him. Okay? No disrespect to Santa Claus. Let his ass wait on us to bless him. We will not wait on him to bless us. Okay? Our default mindset, our default mindset is not one of subordination. Our default mindset is not one of subordination. Okay? My default mindset is not one of eternal subordination. Okay? I get off my ass and I make shit happen. That's my mindset. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, unemployment article from CNN Business. Okay, not so breaking news. They don't like you. They're not hiring you. What's your plan? What is your plan? All right, so you might have seen that, and I think you probably heard about the jobs report. Came out recently. Let me see if I can find an article on the jobs report. I had an article up, but here it is. Yeah, November jobs report doesn't. Okay, here's more not so breaking news. Here is some more not so breaking news. Okay, let's see here. November jobs report doesn't change much for the Fed. From Yahoo Finance yesterday. The jobs report for November provided fresh evidence of softening in the labor market, but it isn't likely to change the outlook for the Fed Reserve much for now. All right, let's see if this article. Ordinarily, the data might have given the Fed officials new concerns about health of the job market and prompted them to cut interest rates further. But economists and Fed observers say caution is warranted. All right. Okay, unemployment jumped to 4.6%, normally a worrying sign. It may have been driven by government job cuts, which spiked as expected. Okay, so this deals with the shutdown. Okay, what's the plan? What is the plan? We have sent HR 4,000 resumes. That didn't work. We sent HR 5,000 resumes. That didn't work. They didn't call us back. What is the plan? What is the plan? Can we pivot? Okay, one of the qualities of a chief executive is to pivot. Okay, when things don't work, we must pivot. We must adapt. Okay, how are we adapting? Will we do the same things that haven't worked, or will we adapt? Will we adapt? How will we adapt? Okay, what is your plan? Okay, they're not hiring you. They don't like you. They don't like your resume. What are you going to do about it? All right, so there's the job reports. Okay, no surprise. Unemployment pretty high. No surprise. Will you take matters into your own hands? All right, let's see here. All right, one thing I want to share was earnings. Okay, let's take a look at this week's earnings. What companies are reporting earnings this week? Let's take a look. Yeah, I don't notice anything too crazy on this list. The biggest name that sticks out for me is later today after close, Micron. Earlier this week, nothing crazy. Lennar. I think Lennar is a real estate development company. I think. Who else? This morning, General Mills. Later this week, who do we have later this week? CarMax, Nike, FedEx, Carnival. Okay, pretty light week in terms of earnings. Pretty light week in terms of earnings. All right. So that's earnings. You guys own any shares? Are you owners of any of these companies? Are you owners of any of these companies? We use their products. We love their products. Do we own shares? Do we own and do we have any ownership stakes in these companies? I have some Nike shoes. Do I own any ownership stake in Nike? Let's see what else here. I have gone on a Carnival cruise in the past. Do I own any owner? Do I have any ownership in Carnival Cruise? If I use their products, I gotta be an owner in that company. Okay. Otherwise, I am hustling backwards. Sometimes I ship packages with FedEx. Do I own any FedEx? Am I an owner in FedEx? Or am I just a consumer of FedEx? All right, so that's earnings. Toro. Okay, I didn't see Toro. I think Toro, is that the company that lets you release out your car? Is that Toro? Is that the same Toro? Okay, I'm sure I use Micron's chip somewhere in my cell phone, in my laptop, in my desktop, in my earbuds somewhere. I'm sure I use Micron chips or use their products somewhere indirectly. Am I an owner in Micron? What else? CarMax, BlackBerry. Okay, back in the day, I had a BlackBerry. Okay, I should have owned some BlackBerry if I had a BlackBerry. Okay, so that's earnings. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? All right, so I want to share my YouTube short screen. I saw some interesting YouTube shorts I want to discuss. All right, let's see what we got here. This is I think this is Forbes YouTube channel. I'm on the short section. I saw a couple interesting shorts I wanted to share here. Hopefully, I can get the Wi-Fi to cooperate. Here's one on the Netflix.
The Powerball
Let's see
jackpot
if I
rose to an estimated $1.25 billion after no winners were drawn on Monday night, December 15th.
This lottery is the sixth largest prize ever, though a lucky winner would receive significantly less of that amount after paying required taxes. A ticket holder matching all 5 white balls and a red Powerball for the jackpot can choose between a payout over 30 annualized payments or a
All right, my YouTube's not really cooperating.
payout of roughly.
All right, my YouTube is not cooperating. My Wi-Fi is not cooperating. Let me try one more. You might have seen this. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday that Musk is now worth 600?
Elon Musk's net worth reached a record $670
billion as of Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, a $168 billion increase primarily from his 42% stake in SpaceX. This makes him the first person to exceed $600 billion after previously surpassing $500 billion. SpaceX's valuation recently doubled to $800 billion in a tender offer launched earlier in December, according to 2 of the company's investors speaking to Forbes. SpaceX is reportedly targeting a 2026 IPO at a $1.5 trillion valuation as confirmed by an investor. Forbes estimates Musk's $336 billion SpaceX stake is now his most valuable asset. His 12% Tesla stake is worth $197 billion. In November, Tesla shareholders approved a record-breaking pay package potentially granting Musk up to $1 trillion in additional stock, pre-tax, and vesting costs if Tesla achieves the, quote, Mars shot performance milestones, such as increasing its market cap more than eightfold in the next decade. Musk's XAI Holdings is reportedly seeking new funding at a $230 billion valuation, over double the $113 billion valuation he claimed when forming the company in March, by merging his AI startup XAI with his social media company X, formerly Twitter. Forbes estimates Musk owns a 53% stake in XAI Holdings, valued at $60 billion. Now, Musk is closer to becoming a trillionaire than losing his title of world's richest person, given his $425 billion lead on current number two, Google co founder Larry Page, who is worth an estimated $252 billion. And with Musk just $23 billion short of hitting the $700 billion mark, he may not have to wait long for his next major milestone.
Okay. YouTube short from Forbes on Elon Musk's latest net worth. All right, let's see what else we got here. I wanted to see if I could play this one. See if we can get this one.
The initial response that Warner Brothers had when they found out the Ellisons were going to come pursue their company was like, why now? Because they were already splitting the company into these two separate entities. I mentioned the studio and streamer and the cable channels. And a lot of people have seen the Ellisons coming after both as really just a bargaining tactic, because they knew the other suitors wouldn't want both sides of the deal. So it was kind of like a advantage that they had, they thought, over the competition. However, the company was splitting, and I think that fundamentally, they had already begun to think about what the reality would look like. And clearly, people were going to be interested in buying the studio and streamer side of things. And I think that ultimately they thought that Netflix was a better partner. I mean, they have the number one streaming service as far as, over $300 million subscribers globally. And their business is in a more, I guess, fundamentally sound place. Whereas Paramount, they just merged with Skydance. There was just layoffs. There's lots of consolidation happening there, and a lot of questions to be asked. The initial response that Warner Brothers had when they found out the Ellisons were going to come pursue their company was,
okay, a YouTube short on what's going on with Warner Brothers and Netflix. All right, let me stop sharing that. I've seen some interesting ones from CNBC. Let me see if I could share CNBC. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. Let me try this one. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's actually a YouTube short on one of the articles we kind of just discussed. Why young grads are struggling to find jobs. Let's check out that one.
On May 16th, 2025, I woke up and was ready to get into my graduation gown for the day of celebration of Villanova's graduation ceremony. My family and friends came from pretty much across the country to see me walk across the stage and receive my diploma.
Michael, Sean, Matthias.
Yeah, Michael! I was really on top of the world, super excited to finally have the diploma that shows my hard work over those 4 years. I was super excited to apply those skills to the job market, to an employer, and finally be an independent adult.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pause right there. Let me rewind what he just said. Let me rewind that. Okay, let's pay close attention to what this guy said.
That shows my hard work over those 4 years. I was super excited to apply those skills to the job market.
He was excited to apply his skills to the job market. Okay, so this I have to blame myself first. I take full accountability. I blame myself first. I was of this same mindset 20 years ago, 10 years ago, as recent as 5 years ago. Okay, I blame myself first. I blame nobody else. I was of this same mindset. Okay, I was excited, quote unquote, to take my skills and apply it to the job market. I was not so excited to apply it to my own business. Okay, I was excited to apply it to a next man's business. Okay, that's my fault. I take full accountability.
To an employer and finally be an independent adult. Flash forward a couple months into the job search. been a little demoralizing. The job market has been very tough, especially for the new grads.
Let's pause right there. Let's pause right there. Let's pause with the cause right there. Let me hear what he just said again.
Has been very tough, especially for the new grads. I have been on my job.
Okay, so what he's saying is it's been tough for new grads. My first question for this guy is, what was your major? Okay, and okay, this is just my 2 cents. There's really only 6 fields worth going to university for in the United States. The 4 STEM fields: nursing and business. Okay, so my question to this guy is, what is your major? What is your major?
Job search since November 2024. I've been applying anywhere and everywhere, and it has been a little difficult to even get to the initial interviews that I want to get to.
The job
Pause for the cause right there. HR don't like you. Newsflash. Okay, breaking news here on Winning Wednesdays, Wednesday, December 17th. If this wasn't breaking news before, here is some breaking news. HR don't like you. What are you going to do about it?
market is kind of trash right now. I mean, it's really difficult. It's really difficult for people who have many years of experience. So it's going to be difficult for college kids.
The rise of youth unemployment is worrisome. For the individual worker, we can see that graduating in a recession leaves long-lasting scars for decades after. These
Okay, let me pause right there. Let me pause right there. Even if that's true, even if you do have scars, go monetize those scars. Use those scars as motivation. Use those scars as fuel. Let that turn you up. Let that gas you up. Go do some historic shit. Stop waiting on HR.
Workers are a vital part of the labor market. And if they're having a hard time, that means that the economy could have a hard time.
For the broader economy, these youth workers might be early indicators that the overall economy is slowing down or maybe even heading towards a recession.
For the first time in modern history, a bachelor degree is no longer a reliable path to professional employment.
No longer necessary for that degree is dated. My degrees are dated. What skills do I have? Okay, so you CNN short, YouTube short from CNBC. Okay, CNBC. Takeaway from that is, what skills do you have? Forget what degrees you have. Forget what school you went to. What skills do you have? Skills pay the bills. Skills pay the bills. Okay. Do you have skills or do you have degrees? All right. And I say that as a reminder to myself first. Let's see here. Okay, it was Yahoo Finance. Let me check Yahoo Finance's short section. All right. Let's check some interesting shorts they have on their page. All right, let's see here. Okay, this was an interesting one. Another short on Netflix. Okay, I always thought YouTube was Netflix's direct competitor.
YouTube is a big winner because the biggest competition that
Let's check my Wi-Fi.
YouTube is a big winner because the biggest competition.
Okay, I guess maybe YouTube is not the biggest winner if my YouTube won't play. Okay. All right, let's come back to that one. All right, this is an interesting one I saw.
2024 was peak Mag 7 earnings growth, peak tech earnings growth, in fact. That earnings growth slowed a touch into 2025, but because we had so much uncertainty emerge with respect to tariffs, where were interest rates going, slow economic conditions, the rest of the index really didn't put up much earnings acceleration. That's expected to change in 2026. The analyst consensus is thinking, look, the Fed's going to reduce interest rates. We're going to get some tax refunds coming in 2026. Maybe we'll have a little bit of stability emerge on the trade front, and the rest of the index can create some earnings growth. If that gap starts to close, we might start to see some rotation into those non-tech stocks. And indeed, that's what we've seen over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks, is the non-tech stocks getting a little bit of attention, while tech stocks, in particular the Mag 7, lose a little bit of the market's mind. There are winners and losers emerging. It's no longer one.
Okay, let me pause for the cause right there. That lady said there's winners and losers emerging. There's winners and losers emerging. Okay, that's common in business. Okay, business is the ultimate competition. There will be winners and losers. Okay, what side of the equation will you be on? What side of the equation will you be on? Okay, what side of the equation will you be on?
Big trade as more opportunities emerge and maybe some disturbances start to emerge in the Mag 7. The winners and losers should come to light. 2024.
All right. So that's a Yahoo Finance short. Yahoo Finance short right there. All right. I wanted to share what I've got going on in the Black Business School. Some of you know, some of you are in the class. Last night we completed week 2 of the B1 Options Masterclass. Okay, we skip all the motivation, we skip all the inspiration, we skip all the ass kissing, we skip all the subordination, we go straight to the revenue. Okay, so I want to share my screen here. Let's see here. Let me see here. Here's a breakdown, a week by week breakdown of our topics. Let's see here. Share screen. All right, so here's a week by week breakdown. Hopefully you can see that. Last night we completed week 2. Okay, last night we completed week 2. Last night we talked about how to reverse engineer your freedom. It's nice to engineer. It's nice to engineer all the infrastructure. It's nicer to engineer your freedom. Okay, it's nice to engineer a next man's freedom. It's better to engineer your own freedom. Okay, so that was last night's topic. Next week we'll talk about HELOC mathematics. Okay, we'll review, get out your calculators, get out your notebook, get out your pens and pencils. Next week, we will talk about HELOC mathematics. Okay, mathematics. Okay. On the 30th, we'll talk about position management, including rolling. Okay, including rolling. 3 ways to manage, including rolling. All right. The following week, many of you asked me how I entity trade. Okay, how I trade in my business. Okay, what the process is, what the best practices are, how to do it, so forth. Okay, I'll have a lecture on the 6th regarding entity trading. And then on the 13th, we will discuss margin secured puts. Okay, margin secured puts, original content only. Original content only. All right, so that's what I bring to the table. Original content. Okay, not some recycled YouTube content, not some recycled content you've seen over here, over there. My value add to the community is I bring original content to the community. All right. Let me know if you saw any of these 6 topics in any other options class. Let me know where, let me know who taught it, let me know when. Okay. My value add is I bring original content to the market. All right. So there's a week by week breakdown. Next week, again, we will discuss HELOC mathematics. Not HELOC feelings, not HELOC emotions, HELOC mathematics. Okay. B1 Options Masterclass. Okay. Even if you missed last week, even if you missed last night, the replay is still available. The replay alone is worth whatever expense you incur. Okay. No lie. All right. That's what I got going on in the Black Business School. All right. Let me stop sharing that. All right. Is anyone in the B1 Options Masterclass? Is anyone in the B1 Options Masterclass? Let us know how it is. Is it a whole bunch of motivation? Is it a whole bunch of talk? Is it a whole bunch of hype? Is it some action steps? All the motivation is cool. All the talk is cool. All the hype is cool. Taking action is way better. Okay, talking about executing is cool. Talking about executing is cool. Executing is way cooler. All right, I can talk to you about what I'm going to do all day, all day. What I'm going to do one day in the future, I can talk to you about. That shit don't matter. What did you do? What are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? Okay. All right. So let's see what we got. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let me stop sharing that. All right, I'm looking at the market. Okay, so the market flipped red. The market has flipped red, it looks like. Okay, let's see. Let me share my screen here. Let's see. Let me show you what I'm looking at right here. All right. Everything looks red. Amazon slightly up. Eli Lilly slightly up. Netflix slightly up. Okay, if you got that Netflix subscription, make sure you're an owner of Netflix. What else we have here? If you got that Amazon Prime membership, okay, make sure you're an owner in Amazon. If you got that new iPhone 25, make sure you're an owner in Apple. What else? What else? Google. I use Google products every day. I use Google Maps every day. I use YouTube every day. I use Gmail every day. So I got to make sure I'm an owner in Google, not just a consumer. Microsoft. I use Microsoft products every day. I use their Outlook every day. I use their PowerPoint. I use their Word. I got to make sure I'm an owner in Microsoft, not just a consumer of Microsoft. What else? Let me see what else. Palantir, Oklo. Okay, you guys can see. Bitcoin at 86.8. Bitcoin at 86.8. 86.8. 86.9 now. 86.9. Do you guys like Bitcoin at 86,000? Okay, they'll come. I strongly suspect, I could be wrong, but I'll strongly suspect there one day will come in the future. There'll be one day in the future where we wish we could buy these assets at these prices. Okay, just like we wished we could reverse the hands of time, go back 10 years and buy these same assets at a crazy price compared to today's price. There'll be one day in the future where you wished you bought Bitcoin at 86,000. There'll be a day in the future where you wish you bought the Nasdaq at 603. There'll come a day in the future you wish you bought Apple at 273, and so on. There'll come a day I wish I bought Nvidia at 170 when that thing is 270, when that thing is 300. I wish I bought it at 170. Okay, if I didn't do that, I have nobody to blame but myself. Okay, I am CEO. I take full accountability. It's all my fault. All right, so that's a live look at the market. Live look at the market. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? All right. All right, let's go to Google. Let's go to Google. I'm again using a Google product. Google search. I got to be an owner in Google. Let me stop sharing that one and let me share this one. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Let's just search some stock market news. Actually, you know what I'm going to search? Let me see if Gemini will work. Will Gemini work? Okay, Gemini and Chrome isn't available in your location. Gemini and Chrome isn't available in your location. All right, come on, Google. Hook me up. All right, let's just search. Let's go back to Google. Okay, let's just search stock market news for week of December. What is it, 15th? Okay, Investopedia, CNBC, Wall Street Journal. Bloomberg, let's see what's going on with Bloomberg. Will it let me read? Okay, I read too many articles. Too much reading. Let me search CNBC. Maybe we can check some CNBC articles. Hopefully it'll load. All right, let's see if I can get this to work here. I just want to go to CNBC here. Is this CNBC? Okay, here we go. Check some CNBC headlines. Stocks give up again. NASDAQ drops led by Oracle. Okay, what do you guys feel about the pullback? What do you guys feel about the pullback? What's your psychology on the pullback? Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? Is this an opportunity? Should I wait? Should I take action? What should I do? What should you do? Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. Okay, you don't need to react to everything. Everything doesn't deserve your energy. Sometimes the best thing to do is just chill. AI startup Lovable's funding round values it at $6.6 billion. Okay, let me hold something, Lovable. Let me hold something. Let's see what else we have. Let's check this article. Hopefully it'll let me read it. Analysts favor stocks into 26. Okay, it won't let me read it. Too much reading. Let's see here. Okay, Sheryl Sandberg. I think she's a former CFO, some former Meta executive right there. She says corporate climate is one of the worst she's seen it. Okay. Okay, so Sheryl Sandberg, one of the top executive in America. She says corporate climate, one of the worst she's ever seen. Okay, what's the plan? What's the plan? Let's graduate away from crying and complaining. What else do we have? What else do we have? Alphabet owned Waymo in talks to raise $15 billion in funding. Okay. I've seen Waymo in Atlanta. I've seen Waymo in where else? I remember Atlanta. Okay. All right. So here's some headlines. Let me check the market section. Let me check the business section. Let's see. I think you've seen this headline the other day. Marijuana reclassification could mean for seniors research and stocks. In my opinion, America's 30 years behind the curve when it comes to marijuana. 30 years behind the rest of the world. What else do we have? Ford to record $19.5 billion in special charges as it pulls back on EV plans. Okay, here's a perfect example. Okay, Ford, big American company, they have adapted. Okay, so their EV push, they saw it wasn't making sense. They saw it wasn't the best thing to do. They have made a pivot. They have adapted. Let's see here. Lending startup backed by Altman. JP Morgan teams up with Amazon. All the heavy hitters are doing business with each other. We can take a business lesson from that. Start doing business with some heavy hitters. You won't care. HR don't like your resume. What else? Eli Lilly, obesity drug delivers weight loss, reduces knee pain in trial. Okay. Eli Lilly going to print money. They don't care. Rivian announces new AI tech chip and robotaxi ambitions. Okay, Rivian, EV company. All right, so you can check out the rest of these headlines on CNBC. All right, so that's CNBC. Let's check what we got on Yahoo Finance. Oracle plummets with 10 billion data center in limbo. Tesla's robotaxi progress gives proof of the AI dream. Let's see. Exclusive. Google works to erode NVIDIA's software advantage with Meta's help. Is there a business lesson in just that headline? Is there a business lesson in just that headline? Warner Brothers urges shareholders to accept NVIDIA bid over Paramount's. NASDAQ leads stock decline as Oracle sinks. Okay, so how are you guys dealing with the pullback? Okay, a Tesla article from Bloomberg right there. How are you guys dealing with the pullback? Is it business as usual? Are you doing something different? Is it same old, same old? Okay, that's a live look at Yahoo Finance. Let's check CNN Business. California may halt Tesla sales due to false advertising and use of term autopilot. Okay, autopilot, my understanding is not autopilot, but I could be wrong. Autopilot, in quotation marks, is you drive it. You still have to drive, basically. The number one cause of America's affordability problem just got worse. That's a very interesting article. Let's see. The number one cause of America's affordability problem just got worse. What's the number one thing Americans can't afford? I'm thinking housing. Let's see. America's cost. Okay, here's a great thing we discussed last night in the options class. America's cost of living problem is simple math. Who knew? Inflation spiked several years ago, and paychecks haven't got enough time to catch up. Not so breaking news. The latest jobs report revealed Tuesday that the problem got even worse last month, and a separate inflation report Thursday could show that the crunch is really on. American workers made an average of $36 an hour in November, and it was the lowest annual paycheck growth for Americans since 2021. Okay, bottom line question, what are you going to do about it? What's your plan? Small raises and rebounding inflation are fueling America's cost of living problems. Wage growth is easing into a sustained affordability crisis, says this economist. Okay. That's why Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said last week that the best way to fix Americans' cost of living concerns is to boost the job market. Okay. They want you to perform the labor. They don't want to perform the labor. They want you to perform the labor. If that keeps up, then over time, people will have to adjust costs. Let's see here. Will adjust to costs that have stayed elevated after the price shock from a few years ago. Okay. So what are you doing to decrease your cost of living? What are you guys doing to offset your cost of living? What are you guys doing? Drop some solutions in the chat. Drop some solutions. Don't just drop problems in the chat. What are the solutions? What solutions do you have to offset cost of living? What are your solutions? Identifying the problem is one thing. Identifying the solution is one thing. Implementing the solution is something completely different. What solutions do we have? Do we have any solutions? We don't have any solutions. All right, let's go back. Okay, so let's check some other headlines before we wrap. Trump's bizarre $10 billion lawsuit has even more holes. Okay. Here's my 2 cents on that. Here's my 2 cents on the politics. This is just my 2 cents. I'm not saying this is what you need to do. This is just what worked for me the last 10, 12 years. What's worked for me the last 10, 12 years is to focus on what I'm doing. I can't focus on what the next man's doing. If I lock in on what I'm doing, it doesn't matter what the next man's doing. Okay. That's worked for me. I'm going to stick to that until it doesn't work. Okay. I can't focus on what the next man's doing. What the next man's doing is none of my business. I lock in on what I'm doing. I double down, I triple down, I quadruple down on what I'm doing. Doesn't matter what the next man's doing. Too locked in. That's my 2 cents on the politics. All right, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we will be back to our regularly scheduled time, 12 p.m. Eastern. Today, I had to push up the meeting. I hope you got some value out of today's meeting. I hope this is not just inspirational. I hope this is operational. Okay. I hope this just doesn't motivate you and hype you up. The action taking is way better. The execution is way better. All right. My name's Errol. I'm going to check you out next week, Wednesday. Until then, keep doing y'all thing. Love y'all. Peace.